Well, it looks like we didn't have to wait until D23 this year to get a Carousel of Progress update. Last year, Disney announced that they were going to be installing a Walt animatronic at the very beginning of Carousel of Progress over in Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World. But since that announcement, it's been total silence to the point that people wondered, did Disney forget that they announced this? Well, on May 28th, 2026, Disney finally announced that they are not only going to be refurbishing just the beginning of the ride, but the whole Carousel of Progress attraction itself. The current iteration will close on July 6, 2026 to undergo this refurbishment, and it'll open sometime in 2027. Every single scene is going to be revamped, giving the ride a huge refresh for the next generation. At first, I wasn't too keen on this update when it was announced, but since then, I've actually kind of come around to it. Let's break down what's changing and what it means for the future of this attraction. If you're unaware, the Carousel of Progress is a ride that Walt Disney developed for the 1964 World's Fair in New York, the same place that he developed It's a Small World and the Lincoln animatronic in Disneyland for. Once the World's Fair was done, these attractions, including Carousel of Progress, were moved to Disneyland in Anaheim. Then, Magic Kingdom received its own Carousel of Progress in 1975, just a few years after the park itself opened. It's received a few updates since then. So right now in this video, we're going to focus on the current iteration that is there right now and the one that is going to be replaced with this obviously new update. Right now, Scene 1 takes place at the turn of the century. Last century. It begins on Valentine's Day in the 1900s and focuses on things like two brothers trying to create a flying contraption, Thomas Edison working on electric lights, having an ice box in the house so your milk doesn't spoil too quick, new tech that helps you do the laundry in only 5 hours, and it only taking 7 days to go from New York to California. The next scene focuses on Independence Day in the 1920s. Here it talks about Charles Lindbergh flying over the Atlantic Ocean, new electrical appliances and lights outside on the porch, except it blows a fuse for the whole neighborhood, indoor plumbing, and the fact that now it only takes 3 days to go from New York to California. Scene 3 is during Halloween in the 1940s. Here it talks about having a refrigerator, an automatic dishwasher, television, and the fact that you have to commute to work. And then the last scene, Scene 4, jumps all the way into the 21st century. It shows the family playing a VR game on their widescreen television, voice-activated appliances, and more of a modern open layout of the house. John jokes about the next century potentially having appliances that could read your mind. So there's what's currently in this ride, and I will tell you, I love this attraction. I love seeing what life was like in the past and how far we've come since then. With the current version that's there right now, I like that it starts at the very beginning of the 20th century, and that it focuses on things that we do currently have right now, but it speaks to how those things have evolved over the years. It's fun to hear about how appliances and household amenities have changed, how travel has changed, and how daily life has progressed. When it was announced that the new updated version is going to start in 1969, literally 20 to 30 years after Scene 3 in the current iteration of Carousel of Progress takes place, I was a little weary of this. To me, 1969 sounded way too recent to start this attraction. The older decades gave this ride such charm, and really made me appreciate the way time and technology has progressed in the years, and just how far we've actually come. But then, I sat back and started to think about what this new ride could actually entail, and I started to come around to it. In the current version, there's a huge focus on things like appliances and household amenities. These decades did show massive growth and progression in appliance functionality, so it was cool to see these changes. But that could also be why it ends in about the 1940s. Since then, we've basically had the same kind of household appliances. Sure, technology has improved them a little bit, but a fridge is still a fridge, even if it now has a TV in it. An oven is still an oven, even if it can now connect to Wi-Fi. And we obviously still have electric lighting and indoor plumbing. Though it would be great for the younger generation to kind of see how people used to live at the turn of the 20th century, there are so many things that have progressed at a quicker rate since 1940 that it would be cool to focus on. So with that, let's take a look at what the scenes are going to be for the new iteration of this attraction. The new Scene 1 is going to be starting in the 1960s, specifically 1969. And what happened in 1969? The moon landing. I kind of love that this is going to be the start of this new Carousel of Progress. One, it was such a monumental moment for America, and two, Walt Disney himself loved the idea of space travel. Though Walt died before man ever walked on the moon, he was enthralled with transportation and space travel. In fact, when Disneyland first opened in 1955, Tomorrowland had a big focus on space and space travel, with attractions like Rocket to the Moon and Space Station X-1. So to have the first new scene of Carousel of Progress start with this moon landing is a very cool idea. Next, Scene 2 will take place during Halloween in the mid-1980s. To be honest, I don't quite know what this will focus on, but in terms of technology, the modern internet as we know it now was created in the mid-1980s, so this could be mentioned in this time period. This was also the dawn of modern cell phones as well, so this could also be mentioned in there. Then Scene 3 will focus on Y2K. For those that don't know, the world was in a bit of a panic in December 1999 because they weren't sure that when the year switched over to 2000, if the computers were going to be able to compute switching from a 1999 year to a whole new 2000 year. And many people thought that the computers would crash and the world would go into a tailspin. Spoiler, nothing happened. As the time changed from 11:59 p.m. on New Year's Eve 1999 to 12 a.m. in the new year 2000, computers just switched to the new date and life continued on as normal. Having this be Scene 3 will actually be fantastic to watch play out, and I could already hear some of the jokes that they can make in this scenario. And then, like the current iteration, Scene 4 will be in the future. I'm excited to see what Imagineers could come up with in terms of future technology. In the current iteration that we have right now, the Imagineers came up with things like VR games and voice-activated everything in the early 1990s. And they were pretty right on with what they thought could be coming in the future. So I want to see what they come up with now to see what could be coming in the not-so-distant future for ourselves. All these new scenes really do sound great. And you know what makes them extra fun? The fact that a large portion of parents will have actually lived through at least one of these scenes. Lots of Walt Disney World focuses on kids and their enjoyment. But you know who has to bring the kids to the parks? Parents and grandparents. I think it'll be very enjoyable for the parents and grandparents to watch these new scenes and be able to reminisce about living them themselves. As a 37-year-old myself, I can remember living through Y2K, which is why I'm very excited to see what they do with that scene. And my parents are around 70 years old, so they've lived through every scene that's going to be in this new iteration. So I can't wait to see what they think of this new revamp. So okay, so us old guys will like this new refurbishment because we lived through it, but will kids like it? Well, I think they will for the exact reason that I like the current iteration of this ride. As I mentioned earlier, I love what the current version of Carousel of Progress shows because it showcases the olden days, with old technology that has led us to where we are now as a civilization. I think this will be how kids will see the new iteration of this ride. My oldest niece was born in 2019, so to her, all the scenes except for the new Scene 4 in the future will have taken place well before she was born. All of the scenes are in the past for her, and they'll be interesting to her because she'll be enthralled with just how ridiculous and slow the internet used to be compared to how it is now. So you know what? As much as I love the current iteration of Carousel of Progress, I think I'm ready for this change. I trust that the Imagineers will give this ride a wonderful revamp, and I'm also intrigued just to see how they keep the charm that the ride currently has. So now, I pass it over to you. What do you think of news of this Carousel of Progress refurbishment? Are you excited of what's to come, or do you wish they would not touch this classic? What do you think some of the main focuses of these new scenes will be? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like as it will really help the channel grow. And if you want more theme park content, please subscribe. You can also follow me at Canuck Park Hopper on Instagram and Facebook for more theme park fun. Thanks again for discussing this new ride refurbishment with me, and I'll see you in the next one.